Travel to northern Nigeria to investigate the persecution taking place against Christians there. Tell us what you found.
Yeah, Nigeria it's in some ways a heartbreaking place because there's so much violence against Christians. In fact, over the last couple of years, we've seen over 9,000, close to 10,000 Christians who've been killed for their faith, more than any other country in the world combined. And it's happening in the north with Islamic extremists like Boko Haram or the Islamic State of West Africa province, who are pushing down from the north to the south and raiding Christian communities, abducting women, forcing them into marriages with militants, and killing fathers, killing husbands, and also recruiting young men to be in their Islamic extremist regimes. And it's, again, heartbreaking, but we still see God working.
There was no Truth Nigeria. There was no media organizations. And you know what was happening to those people? To Lawrence and Masara Kim and all of them? The journalists sitting in the big capital cities, the big cities and in the capital, who were taking the line from the government and didn't have the courage or the integrity or the professionalism or the character or the motivation to go to those frontline villages. They just bought the line from the government that it wasn't really happening, and they bought the line from the U.S. State Department that this is nomadic tribesmen being forced to move from climate change. The Fulani are not really terrorists. Oh, the fact that they are Muslims got nothing to do with it. Because they're nomadic tribesmen, they're looking for other land. They're looking to go somewhere, and that's forcing them to clash with the Christian villages. Nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. That is just an example to you of how climate has been used as a scam. I mean, it's not just fake, it's much worse than that. All of these systems that are being implemented that are so profoundly dishonest, they're systems of control. How do we control the people, control the information and the narrative, and then have that as cover to do whatever it is that we want to do, which, by the way, is to go into Christian villages and not only annihilate people. I mean, in one of the recent attacks that Truth Nigeria has reported.
Did you hear that? How the media are suppressing the truth. Suppressing the truth. They will just sit there in their comfort zone, suppressing the truth. When you suppress the truth, when you don't speak out the truth, how can the problem be solved? You saw the first man spoke. How he spoke about all the killings of Christians. Those Fulanis will go to the Christian community and massacre a lot of people. They will call it farmers' headers class. You heard that. You see this woman, the woman is talking as if she was right there when all this spying is going on. If you will see here what she said, that there was a video she watched with her husband, where a young lady, her head was cut off by those Fulanis, by those terrorists, and the baby in her womb, stripped out. This is terrible. And they think that people are not watching. Look at you media, Nigerian media. Did you hear that? How that the West, a lot of Western world not exactly that you people are not speaking out the truth. You will suppress the truth, and your people in your country will continue dying. What kind of journalism is that? What kind of... Thank God that this woman has come out, and a lot of other people are coming out. A lot of media houses of the world are coming out to speak out the truth. Former headers clash, suppressing the truth. If it is former headers clash, then that means it's not a serious case. And exactly, the farmer headers clash is a narrative that was pushed so that the international community, the world, will not know exactly what is happening. When you suppress the truth, one thing I like in this world, all that goes around comes out. When you suppress the truth, tomorrow it might be you. Yes, you that is suppressing that truth because maybe you have been paid. Tomorrow it might be you or your family or your children or your relatives, whatever. That's why. And of course, thank God that the international journalism, they are coming up to speak out the truth, because of course they know sometimes they will come underground, move around Nigeria to know exactly what is happening. And you Nigerian journalists are still there deceiving yourselves. You are still there deceiving yourself. Farmers headers clash. Farmer headers clash. Kai! In fact, let's finish up watching her anyway.
Systems of control. How do we control the people, control the information and the narrative, and then have that as cover to do whatever it is that we want to do, which, by the way, is to go into Christian villages and not only annihilate people. I mean, in one of the recent attacks that Truth Nigeria has reported on, putting women and children inside cages in the market and burning them alive. I mean, I was sitting down to dinner in my hometown in Texas one Friday night years ago, My husband was with me. It was when we were trying to get the Sound of Freedom was being blocked because people didn't want child trafficking to be a conversation everyone was having. And we were doing our best to help get that movie put out. And I got a video. I showed it to my husband as we sat down. He couldn't eat. And it was a young 18-year-old girl from Nigeria who was pulled from one of the villages. And as they were slicing off her head, they were digging her baby out of her tummy. And she was well advanced in pregnancy. That's the reality of what, when you put those numbers up and you go before your colleagues in Congress and you put those numbers forward, that's what it means in human terms. I mean, Lawrence once was calling Doug and myself, he's sitting in the back of a meat wagon on the bodies of his friends and neighbors with malaria. Remember, after that he went out with malaria for weeks. I mean, these the courage of the people who are on the front lines reporting this cannot be overstated. But the challenge that they face is that the media itself denies the reality that they see and report on with their own eyes and ears. I mean, that's without conscience. Honestly, I stand before all of you in the National Press Club of the United States of America, the most powerful free nation on earth, where we have First Amendment rights. And I cannot say strongly enough to the press corps, do your job. Do your job. Because we are supposed to be the inspiration and also the safety net for journalists everywhere. It is truly without conscience that you can witness the execution of people and have it denied because journalists are too lazy, too corrupt, too stupid, too cowardly to stand up and tell the truth. That is without conscience. And, we have to stop being afraid of what people will say to us. We have to stop allowing those who tell the truth to be punished and those who lie to be.
Yes, Nigerian journalists did you hear that? What you have refused to report, and international journalists are the one reporting what is happening in your own land that you have chose to close your eyes and not to report, while your people, innocent people, are just dying for nothing and you refuse to report the truth. Anyway, whatever you saw in this life is what you're going to reap. Now, let's watch General Musa, what he said when he was being interviewed. Even when the interviewer asked him, why are you still calling these terrorists, that are killing innocent farmers, innocent Christian farmer headers clash? Why are you still calling them? By you calling it farmers headers clash means that it's just, it's nothing. And people will not take it serious. Even the weapon that you need to fight them, they will not give it to you because it's a simple clash between farmers and the animal, just clash. And you know what? I was expecting him to say something, very, very cogent, but he was just rigmarousing. Anyway, let me leave us now. Let's hear what he said. See you in my next video. Please do wait to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much as you do that.
Herder clashes. It looks like it's kind of community skirmishes. When this appears to be a much bigger thing.
There's a lot. We have the headers in it. We have the kidnappers in it. We have the criminals in it. We have the terrorists. Everybody is playing a part in it.
And you're mobilizing for all that
together because we have to deal with them all at the same time. And the way it is that we have different challenges in different regions. And this is peculiar. Like I said, historically, it's gone back, way back. And it started in the past. If a cow enters a farm and damages a farm, the cow is arrested or caught, compensation and paid, or if they kill an animal suddenly, it's compensated. So over time, that stopped. What stopped it? That's the problem. So we started losing faith with those ones. Instead of these settlements, people started taking laws into their hands. If the cow gets into the farmer gets angry, deals with the cow. If he deals with the cow, the owner of the cow also gets angry and attacks the.
So there is revenge.
So there is revenge. So these are the issues on ground.
Right.
And so which means, from my own assessment, three things matter. The people in Benue State believe that there's land grabbing going on. They have that perception. And because over time this has happened. Now, most of our troops, when we send them on patrol, some of the areas are empty. Nobody is there, but there is no foreigner there. But the idea is that if you go in there, you might be attacked. One thing. Secondly, the issue of the animals. The animals stray into farms. Now, because if you know Benue, it is lush and it's very attractive to animals. If an animal gets into a farm, there's always a problem. It creates problems. Now, if you arrest the animal or you kill the animal, it becomes another issue.
Right.
So if we stop the animals from moving, there won't be issue. If we stop killing the animals, there won't be issue. So for me, these two things are basic. The issue of land grabbing is political. The government, state government particularly, need to really step in to ensure that we address and bring all the parties together.
Right.
Sit down and agree on this. And from henceforth, any acts that is conducted is acts of criminality. The defense headquarters has just established its defense ranch because we want to show example as part of our non-kinetic effort. Sometimes we show example, so we do a model of a ranch. I had the opportunity to have been the first executive director for Nigerian Army Farms when I established, and we established a ranch. It's in Abuja. Once you ranch, animals are properly fed, properly taken care of, you get more value. You don't need to take them around. So that is critical. And so our example is, we think it is important that we get some farmland, federal government or through the livestock, we work together in partnership, we build model ramps so that people can see what the ranch looks like and the important. And then secondly, you could also give opportunity for people to come and invest and build pastures, grassland, so to say, because the animals made this grass. So if you provide that and you stop them from moving around to enter into farms, this conflict will stop. And then gradually confidence, because as it is now, confidence has been lost. Both parties don't see eye to eye. And that's why it's critical that we must make them communicate. We must make them understand.
And what is the decision on the ranching?
Yeah. I think the Mr. President
is going ahead now?
No, it's going ahead. Mr. President,
they started it. I mean, the former governor started it.
No, but now we have the Minister of Livestock.
Right.
And Mr. President called him there and gave him
Troops were fighting Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast. They were also battling armed herders in the Middle Belt, bandits in the northwest, and insurgents in the southeast. And as fighting continues to rage on multiple fronts, so is the army stretched to the limit. And now, with the north central region erupting again, as well as the resurgence of fighting in the northeast, where everyone thought Boko Haram had been neutralized, Nigeria's military is being pulled deeper into internal conflicts, placing an enormous strain on its capabilities. So with all these crises brewing, Nigeria's defense chief, General Christopher Musa, has become the first top official to publicly suggest building a defense wall across Nigeria's borders and fencing the country in. He attributes much of the conflicts raging across Nigeria to foreign fighter infiltration, all of them coming in, searching for a piece of this country's perceived riches. So in that regard, how critical is it to take full control of Nigeria's borders before it's too late?
People say, no, it's impossible. Pakistan fenced 1,350 kilometer border with Afghanistan. That was the only time they had peace. Saudi Arabia and Iraq, 1,400 kilometers fenced completely. Can we start thinking of fencing our borders? We have 1,500 kilometers with Niger Republic, 1,900 kilometers with Cameroon. Chad is there. All over us, surrounded by Francophone countries, and the Sahel is heating up.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined now by the man you saw in that video, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. Great to see you again. Thank you very much indeed for making time to talk to us, because I know you've had a long few days. I'm going to get to the issue of the border in a minute, but first of all, the President, yourself, the head of the police, the heads of the intelligence agencies, the National Security Advisor, and a host of other security and political leaders were all in Benue State on Wednesday. How much impact do you think that had on the morale of the people there, who are in the eye of the storm of this latest surge of insecurity, or is that debatable?
Thank you very much. Once again, thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. I think it's very important that we understand that the presence of Mr. President in Benue State has really gone to show the people that he's not far away from them. He feels what they're feeling and wants this to stop. With the members of the security forces all being there together, it shows that solidarity on the part of government together, including members of the legislative and all. So it shows that we need, whenever any part of this country is suffering or has an issue, that love, that care is what this has shown, that the president really cares and everybody wants this thing to end. And it is a morale booster to especially our own troops too, seeing that the president is there and seeing, because we lost two
Yes, indeed.
we lost a policeman.
Our sympathies go out to you.
And so those are the issues we're seeing. And I think they really appreciate at least that the president was able to even take time to come around. See, and you know, the first place he went to was a hospital to see how those injured were and all the things he mentioned that the federal government was going to the states. And that's the importance, to show solidarity with the people.
But of course, beyond the photo ops and the appeals for peace and reconciliation, which he was making while he was there, the expectation was that what we would hear would be of arrests that have been made with lightning speed and a real sort of game-changing intervention from the security services. But we didn't hear or see that.
That has been done. Because it was not announced, does not mean it's not taking place.
Have you arrested anybody there?
The police has arrested a number of people,
right.
And actions have been taken. Investigations ongoing with the DSS, the police. You know, it takes a lot. Because we are law-abiding individuals, so we have to be sure of what we're doing. And I think that's a critical aspect. But all the security forces are working together to ensure that this stops. You know, if you look at how did we get to where we are over time, you know, issues have been on ground. Small skirmishes have been going on because law and order is not there. Punishment has not been meted on individuals have committed. A criminal is a criminal. Everyone who commits a crime should be prosecuted. That has not been done. So that is the issue. And this thing has been...
But why do you think it's not being done?
Well, I think... I really don't, like I said, most of it is...
You don't want to get into the politics.
I don't want to go into the politics.
Right, I can understand that.
Yes.
But let me put it another way. What is your sense of how best we should characterize what's going on in Benue State and the rest of that north central region? Are there still, should we still be calling them farmer-herder clashes, or should we now call it what it is, which is pure terrorism? Because the barbarity with which these crimes are carried out, the fury, it looks like something by Boko Haram or ISWAP.
So let me tell you, I think it's a lot. It's just a portfolio of all of them playing out together. And, you know, criminals have a tendency to want to work together. So you can't rule that out.
But if you don't call it terrorism, I don't mean to interrupt you, then you're not going to get the kind of resources you need to really tackle it. If you keep calling it farmer-herder clashes, it looks like it's kind of community skirmishes. When this appears to be a much bigger thing.
There's a lot. We have the herders in it, we have the kidnappers in it, we have the criminals in it, we have the terrorists, everybody is playing a part in it.
And you're mobilizing for all
that together, because we have to deal with them all at the same time. And you know, the way it is that we have different challenges in different regions. And this is, like I said, historically, it's gone back, way back. And it started in the past. If a cow enters a farm, the cow is arrested or caught, compensation and paid, or if they kill an animal suddenly, it's compensated. So over time, that stopped. What stopped it? That's the problem. So we started losing faith with those ones. Instead of these settlements, people started taking laws into their hands. If the cow gets into the farm, the farmer gets angry, deals with the cow. If he deals with the cow, the owner